switching to Apple now. Late last week, the company acknowledged a problem with the iPhone. It said it discovered a software problem that has caused every version of the iPhone to inaccurately display high signal strength. So will this rare weakness in Apple give its competitors an edge? David Garrity, a principal at GVA Research, joins me in the studio now. David, how do you see this hurting sales of the iPhone 4 in the coming weeks?
I think to the extent that you've had the problem with the antenna, where you've had some poor reception depending upon how people were holding the device, that this news coming on top of the iPhone 4 design flaw with the antenna probably leaves consumers looking at Apple as perhaps being a little bit damaged in their own eyes, especially to the extent that the company has come back and had said, you know, we don't have an immediate fix for this problem with respect to the signal strength display. And also, when you look at the instance with respect to the iPhone 4, their recommendation to the consumer has been, well, you've gone out and spent perhaps $200 to $300 to get a phone. Well, go out and spend another $30 to put a little bumper around the phone, and in the meanwhile, contort yourself in funny positions so you can make a phone call.
Exactly.
It's not a very high-touch, high-concern feel, which I think is kind of the perception consumers had built and investors had built very much around Apple as a brand.
Right. Now, it also has cast AT&T as kind of a victim here because everyone had blamed AT&T for all of the iPhone's problems.
Well, people have been blaming the phone company for years, so from that standpoint, it was an easy thing for Apple to turn around and potentially say, well, you know, our product is perfect, but, you know, this is the problem over here. In some respects, it might be somewhat akin to the fact if BMW had sold the car and you thought you were going 85 and you're going 75 and BMW turned around and said, well, you know, the Autobahn isn't properly paved.
Okay, now you were saying that competitors like Google's Android partners may benefit. Will we see a concrete bump in sales for those products?
I think what you're actually going to see potentially more is a change in consumer purchase intention, potentially away from the Apple product and looking more towards products where there is perhaps a higher degree of reliability. Google's Android platform, primarily with Motorola, but with a number of other handset vendors, certainly has taken a lot of market share, not necessarily at the high end of the market, but they've got a chance here. Research in Motion coming out with new products in the second half of the year has a chance to possibly win some share back from Apple. Also at the same time, you know, while people had counted out Palm, now that they've got the strength of Hewlett-Packard behind them, Hewlett-Packard certainly will exploit this opening over the next year. And at this end of the day, you know, Nokia obviously has been beaten down, but they still are the leader in smartphones.
All right. Thank you so much, David Garrity of GVA Research.